Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday night, live from New York. It's Tuesday night, featuring myself, Sam St. John, Rob from Northern Revolutions, and our special guest, Brian from Embryonic Journey. There's 4 people watching already. I just got to do a little bit of homework here, so bear with me for a second. Hope everyone's having a great night. We are really excited about getting this going tonight. This might be my favorite topic we've done so far. We are going to discuss the 80s, a decade of music that I, for the most part, disregarded and have come to the conclusion that there was a lot of great music. And we're going to talk about that tonight. And I would love your thoughts on it as well. Let's see if we can get back. I think we're good. 2 comments. Danny, thank you for coming. My favorite name of anybody, Cardboard Head Guy. Man, I love that. Man, I'd like to meet you, dear. I've never met a guy with a cardboard head before. I think that would be kind of cool. Of course, everyone's late to the party tonight. Well, not really. I'm 2 minutes early. Like I said, the 80s. So the 80s for me, I always just thought Madonna, and not I don't want to slam any of these artists. I mean, they've all had great careers and done well for themselves, and they have a lot of fans. So, but just for in my wheelhouse, here's my thoughts. Madonna, she's not in my wheelhouse. People like Boy George and Wham and all that stuff. I just didn't like that stuff. Yeah, so that was like the posters of 80s music for me, and just to turn off. And I was into other stuff. I was really heavy into playing my banjo back then, and in a band, and heavy into bluegrass music. And I wasn't listening to the top 40 stuff too much. The one band that caught my attention was Tears for Fears, which I absolutely loved. So I'm sure they're going to come up on a list tonight. Bonjour, Mr. Basement. Oh, Jason, I love it when you speak French. You're just getting the early bird special. Well, Sam, you know, you're supposed to be on the show, so I don't know what you're doing, buddy. You're not part of the viewership. Remember the unknown comic? He had a brown paper head. Yeah, I remember that guy. He was funny on what was that show? Hey, Christian, with Chuck Barris. Yeah, what the hell did they call that show? That was crazy. J.P. Morgan, Chuck Barris, the unknown comic was on. Oh, that was a wacky show. Cardboard Head, early 80s were good. 88, 83, mid 80s, 84, 86, not so much. That's an interesting point. I'm just going to look at my list because I wrote down the dates for all my songs. Not to give anything away, but I got 1, 2. I've got 2 songs on my top 10 from 85, Cardboard Head Guy. So I'm not sure. Oh, Sam, Jeopardy, my friend. Sam, you're not going to get any smarter watching Jeopardy. The Gong Show. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Christian. That was it. Oh, man, The Gong Show. That was crazy. It was such a stupid show. They would, if anybody is too young to remember The Gong Show, it was like these hosts. There's Rob. Oh, Rob's waving at me. There we go. We got him.
How you doing?
Good, man. How's it going?
Doing all right.
That's good. I've been excited for this one.
I have too. I've done like several different lists, and
me too.
I didn't realize. I mean, I knew there was good music in the 80s, but holy crap!
Not Brian's here. Oh, Embryonic Robot. I've got him down as Embryonic Journey for some reason.
That might be better.
Oh. Hey, Brian. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. How's it?
Yeah, I gotta fix that.
Can you hear okay? Just out of curiosity.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. All right.
I gotta fix that. Embryonic Journey is a Jefferson Airplane song.
Is it? I didn't know that.
I
forgot that.
An instrumental off of Surrealistic Pillow.
Yep.
That's right. I even have that record.
I
There
think
we
everybody
go.
does. It's classic.
Sam St. John, Northern Revolution's Embryonic Robot. And me.
And you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we were just saying before you hopped on there. Oh, here's the late Sam St. John.
He had to stick around for Final Jeopardy.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know the answer?
No, it was.
We'll make Sam feel at home on the show here. Da, da, da,
It was a medieval question. I didn't get right. I'm usually about 70-80% on them, but not tonight.
Hey, Jack, the music guy.
Brian,
Jack, I saw you entered your first contest, buddy, but I got it. I don't want to call you out on, in front of millions of people, but I watched your entry and it's only like 49 seconds long and you only did the zero part. I didn't know if you did the whole, I don't know if I was missing something. So I didn't leave a comment. I gave you a thumbs up, but I didn't leave a comment because I didn't want to, but you're supposed to show your 9th album in your collection, an album with the song Zero in it, which you did, 409, and then an song that's 9 minutes long.
Oh,
but
damn
Chris
it,
gave you a heads up anyway and entered you in the contest. So that's good. Hey, Rob. Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Hello, gentlemen. She throws that term around like it means nothing.
Well, it means something.
That's setting the bar pretty high on this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Miss
Gentlemen. Wow. Oh, man. So everybody's excited about the 80s thing tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited. And Brian, I got to, I was fortunate enough to introduce you. I filmed last night with Steve and Gary.
Okay.
So I am your introduction for
all right.
week. So
good to hear.
This is cool. Brian, because you're a first-time guest, tell us a little bit about your channel and why the heck you're even here.
Well, let's see. My channel, I guess, is, if you go to my About page, it says, finally, another Vinyl Community YouTube channel, because it's not like there aren't any. So, it's just sort of, I guess I thought about it for years, like everybody thought about it for years and years. And I don't do anything really that no one else does. I show things I buy. I participate in challenges or contests and threads, and sometimes do little dives into my collection, that kind of thing. And it's been around for like 14 months, 15 months. That's probably, it's no different from anyone else's channel, really. Why am I here? You mean tonight? I came on last week.
Earth. Like, we don't need to go back that far.
Yeah,
tonight. Why did we want you as a special guest?
Well, you'll have Rob threw my name out when the 80s came up, and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Judging by the color of my hair, I lived through the 80s, and I find it to be, there's some. I heard your earlier comments, Glenn, before I came on. There's some stuff in the 80s I definitely do not like, and then there's stuff that I really like. It's sort of a formative time for me because of where I was at the time and what I was doing, and I have fond memories of the 80s and that kind of thing. So
I did a video this morning where I was about the box set I just got, and I mentioned the 80s and how I thought there were certain songs that just turned me off the decade, and I really didn't explore anything any deeper. But if you go to the 70s and someone Paul Anka did "You're Having My Baby," and there was there was a ton of bad music in the 70s, and everybody thinks that's one of the greatest decades for music.
That's right, disco.
So every decade has its,
it's diamonds true. And its turds.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Definitely true. So,
well, I thought I sort of nominated Brian last week because I often think his channel should be called Encyclopedic Robot.
Well, just to be clear, I do research before I go on and make a video. So sometimes I look things up.
I'm sure that's true. I mean, Brian Brian and I have had the privilege of meeting in person before. And I'm not saying this just because he's here, but I mean, his knowledge of music impresses the hell out of me, and tends to know a lot from a lot of decades, but you tend to know a lot of crazy 80s stuff that not a lot of people know. So when we were talking about this, I thought I know who the perfect guest for our 80s week is.
Perfect. That's great. We're honored to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. I'm writing that word research down. Research your videos before you record them.
Well, I mean,
you always learn something every night.
Well, I don't want to I guess a couple of times I've held up a record and started saying something about it, and then I realized I have no idea when this record came out. Or is this the first record? So I generally just refresh my memory, go back and find out.
I am so bad for that. Like I just have these visions in my head since I've been listening to music since probably like 1960, and everything I have in my head is I just think that's right. Like, so I did a video the other day and I mentioned Warren Zevon and I held his debut album up, and right away I get a comment going, "That's his second album, Glenn." Yeah, it's his debut to me.
Yeah.
So before we start, and I don't know if Brian, you're interested in this thing. I got this box set that I'm pretty excited about. Have you seen this? Intrigue. It's Steven Wilson. Everybody's familiar with Steven Wilson and all the great job he does remixing all the classic stuff and his own band Porcupine Tree and his solo stuff. Anyway, he put out this album because Steven Wilson became a teenager in 1980. He goes through the whole thing and here does a little blurb. And he's of the opinion, like I think he's trying to relate to people like me who think, Wham is the 1980s. And he said, no, there's a lot of great music in the 80s and you got to look for it. So he put this album out, compiled 58 songs from 58 different artists that is more alternative, exploratory, experimental, progressive stuff from the 80s. And he put this out there to say, hey, there's a lot of great music in the 80s. And I am loving this set. It is freaking awesome. 4 CDs. It's called Intrigue. And if you're interested in the 80s at all, man, bands like Wire, Bill Nelson, Magazine, The Stranglers. I've never heard any of these. The Gang of Four, Dorati, Column. There's all kind of This Heat. There's all kinds of names of bands that I have not got a clue, and I haven't heard a bad song. I've listened to 2 of the 4 CDs and absolutely loving it.
The funny thing is, every one of those bands you mentioned, I had on my long list, but none of them made the short list. So yeah,
cool.
And this is why I suggested Brian would be the guy for this discussion.
But anyway, if you're interested in the 80s and you want to look deeper into it, I strongly suggest this. It was $65 Canadian for the 4 CDs. The vinyl was $270 for 7 albums, so I didn't do the vinyl.
It's pricey,
but it sounds great. It's really good. Yeah. So, how did you guys? Let's talk about how we approach these lists before we start revealing them. Rob?
That's a tough question because, to your point, you mentioned Wham. There's a lot of shit in the 80s, but there's also a lot of great stuff. And I don't know, maybe it's my perception because I'm a child of the 80s and I grew up in the 80s and that was my first exposure to music. But to me, that decade seems the most varied in terms of what was out there. So it's really hard to narrow it down to 10 songs. And I tried to do a little bit of all of the sub-genres of the 80s that I liked. And to Brian's point, my long list, there was a ton of stuff that got left off. And I think if I were to do my list again tomorrow and the next day, it would be different every day, except for a couple at the top. It's hard to narrow it down, but I just tried to pick, and none of my stuff is obscure by any means. They're all big hits, but I looked at it and went, what do I remember listening to the most in the 80s? And to me, does it still hold up today?
Yeah, cool. Sam, how did you approach this?
Kind of in the same vein. And it was funny. I just recorded a video with Rich Strickler and Randy Nelson. And as we were sitting there, there was a song that I've been juggling about in my head all day, trying to remember to put it on my list for tonight. And by doing so, I kicked off a song that was on my final top 10. And it also moved, like the song that I put on my list was number 7. Like it automatically went to number 7. So those last 2 songs had to go down. But again, kind of the same thing. I mean, growing up when I was first starting to really get into music, like classic rock radio is what I was listening to. So I was hearing everything, Def Leppard and, Guns N' Roses, Back in Black stuff, things like Heart, like 80s Heart. And so like all that stuff was all over the place, Bon Jovi, and so stuff that I don't listen to at all anymore. But a lot of those artists, except for Bon Jovi, I have respect for.
You might have a problem, Sam.
Yeah, well, that was going in. We knew that.
We always have problems.
We always have
It's
the end
the
of our
best part of the
chat.
show.
Yeah. It's like the Springer show on here.
Yeah.
No, I kind of went along the same vein. I didn't want to stick to just those holdover guys from the 60s and 70s. I could have easily gone, McCartney, Bob Dylan, all those guys. And some of those guys are represented. But then I've also got some, bands that really came into their own into the 80s. And I wanted to show that. So, it's a top 10 list. Are they necessarily my top 10, 100% favorite songs of the 80s? It's hard to say because, again, we went by the one artist rule. Again, there's a song right now I'm still debating if I'm going to throw it on my list now and, again, readjust my list before we even start this thing. So my long list, I had everything from, Beastie Boys to John Prine on my honorable mentions. So it could go anywhere. So I'm excited to see what the three of you all decided to go with.
Brian, how did you arrive at your final 10?
Well, I have to say, I agree. I found this really challenging because there's just so many songs to choose from. But I think subconsciously, I have the top 10 list I'll talk about, but I also have another top 10 list, which is a little more underground. And I think I deliberately didn't choose some of those because I thought maybe that's just too ridiculous. Like you mentioned Wire. There's a song by Wire that came out in the 80s I adore, and I think it's fantastic. But it just didn't seem to fit with the others. So I chose things. And especially since that song, I probably discovered a little bit later. So I tried to choose things that I was listening to at the time they came out. So I have stuff from 80 to 89. And I'm pretty sure that it's things that I was familiar with then, as opposed to something I discovered later. That's kind of how I approached it. But to be honest, I changed my list so many times. In fact, something that was in the top 5 is not on the list today, was yesterday. So I made a lot of changes. And I think what I was trying to get at is that there's certain songs that personally I might have chosen to be on this list, but it just seemed a little too wacky to include. So I didn't put some of those on because it just seemed a little strange.
I kind of did. I listened to all three of you guys. I kind of did the same thing. My initial list of 10 was kind of older classic type, like Dylan and guys like that, and choosing songs that I liked that they did in the 80s. And then I started going, no, like I don't want to do that. So I left off like one of my favorite songs of all time is Dylan's Every Grain of Sand. I just love it. It's probably my second favorite Dylan song or third favorite. And it's from the 80s. And I thought that was like number 2 on my list. And then now it's not even on my list.
Yeah.
So I've made a whole about face. So I'm kind of excited to see what everybody comes up with here. It should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's start. We'll let Brian go first because he's the honored guest tonight.
All right. Well, okay. So I chose the first one is something from 1989. I did pull records so I can have something to show too. So I pulled a record with by Daniel Lanois. It's called Acadie, and the track I chose was The Maker as number 10. He produced Peter Gabriel, U2, Emmylou Harris, Neil Young, Brian Eno, Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson. That's, if you don't know that song, it's really spacious, kind of hypnotic. In many ways, it's really spiritual, which is strange for me because I'm not a spiritual person. It doesn't really enter my life, but there's something about it that's really profound and really honest. So this is his first record. He's released several after this, but for me, it's probably the best song on the record and a standout record from 1989. This would be on, it should have been on my top. That's a funny thing. I made a top 10 from 1989 records and I left it off. Totally forgot about it. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. Glenn, do you know this song? I
love that album.
One of my favorite albums. Sometimes you never know what people,
I consider it kind of it has a magic, like the whole album has like a just it's like an Astro Weeks or something. It just goes, the whole album just fits. It's a beautiful record. Wow, great choice.
I think it's also compulsory as Canadian music fans that we know that album.
Yeah. Sam, have you ever heard that album?
I know that song, and I know Under Stormy Skies.
Yeah,
I love that song.
Oh, it's such a great record.
I first heard The Maker through Dave Matthews.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He does a killer cover.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, that's a great record.
It's great. They do it. There's a great version from Radio City Music Hall. That's fantastic.
Wow, that's great. Great start. Rob,
all right.
I'll let you go next.
All right. So I have to mention the one that did what was my number 10, just because you mentioned Wham. My number 10 was going to be Careless Whispers.
Oh,
by George Michael, because It's awesome, and it's so bad and cheesy at the same time. I love it. But anyway, I bumped it in favor of a song that is anthemic, and as soon as everyone hears the first notes of the drum beat, they know the song. I've got it on the Rocky IV soundtrack, Eye of the Tiger by Survivor.
Oh, man.
I mean, if that doesn't typify the 80s, I don't know what does. I mean, that's...
Well, you're right about that.
Rocky 2, I think.
4.
Rocky
Four?
IV. Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't that Sylvester Stallone's brother or something was in that band?
I have no idea. I know
No,
nothing
sure.
about-
He was Rocky Stallone or something. His name's something like that. He's got a weird name. I'm pretty
He's got
sure.
a brother-
Maybe
he's
someone
got-
can
His
confirm
brother
that
is Frank
for me.
Stallone, who is an actor.
Right, yeah, I'm pretty sure his brother's in that band, but maybe someone watching can confirm.
I don't know. Did Survivor do anything beyond just that hit? I don't think
I
so.
don't know.
Yes, they did.
they?
Oh gosh, what's the song? I've heard it.
I should have researched it, but I didn't.
I'm gonna get there.
Refresh your memory next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there was not a Stallone in there, but their other big hit was "High on You" and "Burning Heart."
Okay. John, Music Talk with John just said Frank Stallone is not in Survivor. Okay,
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah, he was more of a comedian, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, "High on You" is a big song.
We better warn John to misbehave tonight. None of this monkey around in the cup.
Yeah, I screwed him around last night, but we'll talk about that later. I
Good.
teased him. Sam, you're number 10.
Yeah, this was I was literally just making changes, I think, while Brian was talking, because there was a song that I just had a bump in there I completely forgot about. Again, originally, and I'm sure it's going to show up on Glenn's list. For a while, I had Sledgehammer at number 10, and then that got the bump. For a while, I had Touch of Grey at number 10 by the Grateful Dead. That got the bump. My number 10 is Every Grain of Sand by Bob Dylan.
There we go. See, I told you I scrapped it off my list.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I'm going to go both ways with my list. I couldn't not keep it off my list. Again, it's from 1981 from the album Shot of Love, which was the third of his gospel records, even though that one is about half and half gospel, half secular. It's my favorite Bob Dylan song, and there is just no way on this earth that I was going to give it the boot. I've talked about it, in copious, amounts of videos, and beautiful guitar solo. I mean, harmonica solo. It's just got these most poetic lyrics. It's Dylan at his absolute best poetically. I can't get enough of that song. I saw him back in April of last year, so it's creeping up on a year, and he closed the show with that. And it was the first time that I've heard him do it live, that I've seen him, and it was a magical experience to see that. So I had to put Every Grain of Sand at number 10.
Love it.
Yep.
It's funny. I had for a while considered adding Everything Is Broken to my top 10, but didn't quite make it. So yeah, interesting.
Another one. Yeah, I left Bob off. It's too easy for me to put a Dylan song on, so I wanted to challenge myself a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 10. I've been heavy into the Police lately. I always liked them, but not as I'm more obsessed. And I chose something from Ghost in the Machine. Every little thing she does is magic.
Yep, good song. Good
choice.
choice.
Yeah, they had so many great songs, and I could have chosen from the 80s, but that's the one I picked.
That's a good one.
I am going to try to get caught up with everybody here. Okay. Jack, the music guy, he loves Wham. Have
There
a
it
second
is.
album with 2 big hits. I love Careless Whispers was kind of a cool song, really.
That saxophone in it. It's
Yeah.
great.
I did
heard that
singles
many a night
songs
at
by
the
years,
strip
then an album list by years. I told you to cut the decade in half. No one listens to me.
We should have done that.
I can block you, John. Then we don't have to even hear you. Shout out to my mom for my 80s knowledge. Way to go, Briar. New Wave took off in the early 80s. Didn't New Wave take off in the late 70s? Wouldn't you say 77, 78?
Yeah.
New Wave?
Yeah, because they tried to pigeonhole like Tom Petty as New Wave, even though he wasn't. But B-52s and those groups were late 70s.
Pass the Dutchie. I don't know that.
Oh,
Musical Youth.
You making that up?
no, that's a real song.
Oh, Pass the Dutchie, Music Youth. I don't know that
Musical
one.
Youth.
Impossible for me to pick 10 for a decade. I just can't. Oh, come on, Gary.
You have to do it, Gary.
You have to do it. Frank,
Yeah.
I told you guys Frank Stallone wasn't in Survivor. That's who said that? That was stupid. High on
High on you.
Oh, Survivor, yeah. Survivor had 2 hits. Cheesy ballad that played like crazy.
Yeah.
I Can't Hold Back, Survivor, another
I
one.
will say there's probably more songs in the 80s that I would gladly throw off a cliff than any other decade, just because there so many are overplayed. And I will try my best not to make faces at those songs that get mentioned tonight, but I will say one has already been mentioned.
And didn't it seem like that was the decade for movies where they used a lot of more than any other decade of filmmaking?
The soundtrack became an album.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I mean, it's Saturday Night Fever. Yeah, Saturday Night Fever. What was that? Is that 80?
I mean, all those movies with Molly Ringwald and all those that Brat Pack and everything.
Yeah.
Well, at least Pretty in Pink had good songs. I'm thinking like Footloose didn't have, in my opinion, great songs.
Back to the Future.
Yeah. Hold on to your hat, Brian.
Okay. Eye of the Tiger was from Rocky 3.
Yes.
Corrected again.
Yes, because it's at the end where they hit each other, and that's when it starts, and then it's on the soundtrack for 4.
No, it's not, Gary. I have the album in my hand.
David corrects me further down in the comments. I've only seen Rocky 4. Yeah. I think all the Rocky movies are stupid. So
your butt there, Gary. Money for
Rocky.
Nothing.
I'm killing Sam here tonight.
Rocky's awesome.
Yeah, I like that song too. Every Little Thing She Does Matters is one of my picks as well. Right on. Eye of the Tiger may be on Rocky 4 soundtrack, but it's originally from the Rocky 3 soundtrack. Gary is correct.
We just like telling Rob that he's wrong.
Rob, you're a loser.
Everybody in the comments, Rob is wrong.
Uh-oh, stump us.
Oh gosh.
What Rocky movie was Eye of the Tiger
in? 3 and 4.
In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins. Might make an appearance. What was Frank Stallone's one-hit song? Bonus. What movie was it from?
I don't know.
No idea.
Me neither. And it's not movie Stumpus is music only. That shouldn't be tied to a movie. Remember he tried to do that to us on the Big Lebowski or something. Yeah. We don't allow those questions.
See, he's misbehaving again tonight.
Yeah. He's always
troublemaker.
Number 9. Ryan's ready to go.
All right. So, I debated between 2 songs in this record, but I will just say that I adored this record when it came out. For me, probably the best album of 1985. And of course, it had recently rocketed up the charts because of Stranger Things. So I chose the Running Up That Hill. Now, there's possibly 3 songs. Cloud Busting for me is probably equal to it, but I went with Running Up That Hill. It has a lot of cachet now, but this record, I didn't say Kate Bush, Hounds of Love, Running Up the Hill, I think was phenomenal. It was, I'm repeating myself now. My favorite record from 1985, probably incredible. I mean, this whole thing is incredible, but it was again tough choice. This went up and down the list and ended up at number 9, but that's number 9 for me.
My favorite Kate Bush album.
Yeah. Oh, well, probably mine too. Yeah.
Rob.
Okay, my number 9, I don't actually own. I have it digitally, but I don't have it in physical format. And following hot on the heels of Eye of the Tiger for 80s cheese, and I'm being sincere tonight. I'm not being sarcastic like a few weeks ago, but I do love some of these cheesy 80s songs. I got to go with Foreigner's Jukebox Hero.
Oh,
wow.
This trend doesn't necessarily continue, but I had to put those in my list because they sort of typify part of what was the 80s and made the 80s what was the 80s. So.
Foreigner was probably my favorite of those. Journey, Foreigner, Styx, Kansas, those kind of.
I think I'd have to agree.
Foreigner was my favorite.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
Okay, Sam.
I'm kicking myself because I'm thinking about songs that I've forgotten, but I'm not gonna go back.
You can put Careless Whispers in, Sam. It's okay.
Right. Right. It's my secondary list. Because I'm looking at my honorable mentions, and I mean that could have been a top 10 list. But this is a song that I forgot about, believe it or not, and this was the song that I added while Brian was talking on that first go around. Number 9 for me, End of the Line by the Traveling Wilburys, 1988.
I figured that would make an appearance.
I didn't even think about it until, like I said, 10 minutes ago when this thing started. It's the last song on the Volume 1 album, the first album. Just a perfect track. It just is. It's got that jangly 12-string intro with all the guys playing guitar. It's got one of the best videos of the 80s with the empty rocking chair with Roy Orbison's guitar after he had passed away. Just to me, the end of one of the most perfect albums that have ever been made. It's in my top 10 favorite albums of all time. If I was going to go a track by track for that album, I'm not sure if End of the Line would be my favorite, but in terms of typifying what Traveling Wilburys were, what their sound was, I mean, I had to pick either Handle with Care or End of the Line, and I like End of the Line just a little bit more than Handle with Care. So that made my list tonight, number 9.
It was on my original list, Sam.
No. You're essentially saying you don't like Bob Dylan, is what I'm understanding from the last two.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, not this week.
Yeah, that Bob Dylan, he can't sing. That guy drives me nuts. He writes good
No,
songs.
no.
He can't sing.
What? No, you're supposed to say, I do not prefer the sound of his voice.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I taught you something.
He's learned manners this week.
That's right.
Okay, my number 9. This is a guy who gets absolutely zero respect and love anymore. He might have been the god of the 80s, and that's Phil Collins. And his first album, Face Value, In the Air Tonight. When I first heard that song, man, that blew my freaking mind. That heavy drums and the vocal performance, and I just think that's a brilliant song. And I don't own it anymore. I might pick up that Face Value album somewhere in my journey, but that song was mind-blowing to me when I first heard it.
When you said he doesn't get any love and ruled the 80s, I thought you were talking about Bill Cosby for a minute. But
yeah.
Yeah, people look down on Phil Collins, but I think he was an excellent drummer. I guess you could say he's not drumming anymore, but I think he was a really good drummer. So I approve of that song.
Yeah. Music Talk with John. He's coming up with some crazy ones here. Sheena Easton, remember her?
Oh yeah.
Strut. Brian's on my good list for bringing up Kate Bush. There we go.
Good to know.
My favorite band. I'm wearing a Foreigner t-shirt right now.
All right, Jack.
Just don't see their latest tour.
Box Hero is not cheesy. Take that back.
All right.
And John
Cold
doesn't
as
walk around.
Ice. That's a good
Cold as
song.
Ice, good song, but that's late 70s, isn't it?
You know, my favorite song of theirs was the ballad with the gospel choir and
You want
everything.
to know what love is?
Yeah, I want to know where love is. I really like that song. REM might make
That is 80s.
appearance later. I want to know what love is. Yeah, I really like that song. Breakup song, the Greg Kinn Band.
A favorite of Aaron.
I can get into that. I didn't like the Traveling Wilburys. Disappointed supergroup.
Whoa.
Wow.
Take
Jack.
that back.
There's
Jack.
a hot take.
Jack, I'm subscribed to your channel, my friend, and I promoted your channel, but that may change.
That's it. Yeah, you're Jack. Instead of calling your channel the music guy, we think we should go Jack the dumb guy.
Jack, you might as well have just
Change your
killed
channel.
Sam's dog. Like
They are the supergroup. There's no other.
Disappointed.
Wow.
What were you expecting? Alison Moyet loves. I don't know that album.
That's a good song. She's from Yaz.
Cold as Ice released in '77.
I was
Okay,
right.
so good. Thanks for correcting us. Oh, okay.
You're wrong,
Don't take us there, Jack. You don't have to like the album if you don't want to.
but you need to like the album.
Oh, there we go. Wigwam and Wiggle Wiggle from Dylan.
Wigwam was in the 70s, I believe.
I think so.
I
too.
saw that and thought we were going to talk about the Wiggles for a minute.
I don't know if that was a drum machine. Was it? In the year
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
Was it?
Programmed.
Yeah.
Aussie Crazy Train, great song.
And actually, Wiggle Wiggle by Bob Dylan was 1990.
They
So-
sounded too old for me. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Well,
Jack's also he also said that Tears for Fears were oldies, so
yeah. There we go. Okay.
Gosh,
We
Sam's
are
going to have a heart attack tonight.
this is not a
number
good night.
8.
Number 8.
Wait, are we back to me already? No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, can't keep up. All right. I'm going to show this record, and you're going to think I'm going to choose a song that I'm not going to choose, because if I show this, you're going to think Shock the Monkey, Peter Gabriel, but I'm not. This is Peter Gabriel's fourth record, 1982, and instead I'm choosing the leadoff track, Rhythm of the Heat, which is clearly my favorite Peter Gabriel track. You know, I think it had to do with Carl Jung's visit to Africa, where he was kind of afraid of the drumming, the tribal drumming. That's what I read years ago anyway, but for me, that's Peter Gabriel's best song, Rhythm of the Heat.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
Even have it in German. That's the German. He did some German records, so he actually rewrote the lyrics in some cases to.
You mean he sings in German?
He sings in German. There's actually two
I
of these.
didn't know
The
that.
previous record, the third record, which is sometimes called Melt. There's a German version of that.
Wow.
There's a
I
German-
thought the
so,
Beatles were the only wankers who would do that.
You know, in fact, you can Shock the Monkey in German got played a lot on a radio station I listened to
Really?
years ago. But yeah, I think that's a great song.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I learned something else tonight.
You could probably
Research
find it
in
on-
German Gabriel.
German Gabriel. Yeah.
Rob,
That was 8.
What,
Yes.
what other gem do you have for us?
What's that supposed to mean? You think
Oh, that's so far you've been good. Eye the Tiger, Jukebox Hero.
right? So
Yeah.
this is
Don't
another
get
band.
sensitive on me here, buddy.
No, it's all good. This is another band that I think is stereotypical 80s, but they're still around today. I think they still sound good today. Produced by one of my favorite producers, Mutt Lang, off of Hysteria. I got to go with Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Wow.
That's an interesting choice.
Why is it? That's a monster hit from the 80s.
I guess it was.
It was. Def Leppard was big, man.
I mean, how can you argue with a one-armed drummer?
Yeah. Who just got it salted in Florida. I don't know if you saw
Right.
Oh.
Did.
that. Yeah.
Although I think he had 2 arms for the sugar pouring.
Yeah, I think at that time he was okay.
I think so.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Rick Allen.
Wow.
All
Same.
right. Number 8. Earlier on today, this song is probably about 2 more places closer to number 1 than it is right now. But I found other songs that I liked a little bit more. Number 8, it's the earliest song on my list from 1980 from the album Making Movies by Dire Straits. I'm going to go with Romeo and Juliet.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's my favorite Dire Straits song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. I wish I would have written it. I just think it's a masterpiece in songwriting. I love the it's very subtle guitar playing, but it's very intricate the way that Mark Knopfler is playing that guitar. I just love that whole doom 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 doom. And Jim, I love the whole line about, hey, my boyfriend's back.
Yeah, it's
It's just a perfect song. And I've the past couple of years when I've like really gotten into the song, I've gone days where I've listened to it 4 or 5 times just back to back. Live versions that Mark Knopfler did acoustically, just everything. I can't get enough of this song. There's a great cover version by Lucas Nelson and Promise of the
I didn't know that.
You would love it, Glenn. It's from one of their one of their sound checks. It's beautiful. But the Dire Straits version is the definitive version.
Incredible.
I love that song, and it had to make my list. I hate that it's number 8 because I did have it like at number 6 or 5 earlier on.
Wow, that's a great pick. I love that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Wow. What's my number 8? Sam will love me for this.
I already
It's
love
one of my only classic guys. Oh, well, maybe not, but it's that Tom Petty, Southern Accent.
Mm,
My favorite Tom Petty song
yep.
from 1985.
Yep.
Title song, Southern Accent. I just freaking love that song. Great passionate vocal and great lyrics. That's my number 8.
All right. Good.
My favorite Petty song.
Mine too. We're kind of on the same page tonight, Sam, because I would have picked Every Grain of Sand and
End of the Line.
Traveling Wilburys, and
Romeo
I'm
and
not saying
Juliet.
Dire Straits isn't going to come up later. I might have to give TW another listen. Oh, you love it. My
Yes.
ears must have
And
been.
make sure it's volume 1.
Yes.
Yeah, volume 1.
There is no volume 2, by the way.
Right.
Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I don't even
Wow.
know the songs that
Oh.
that John's picking.
You know that song.
You know
Yeah,
that.
you've
No.
heard it before. Yeah, I'm sure
You're
you.
never gonna break
Oh,
my
maybe.
stride.
Nothing gonna hold
Stumpus.
me down.
Let's jump to the Stumpus. What foreign language did Billy Joel sing on in Glass Houses?
Russian.
French.
I was going to say Russian. Is that it? Let us know, John. Burning Down the House, Talking Heads. That got serious consideration. Hysteria was recorded with the one-armed drummer. Okay, there we go.
That sounds like code for something.
Makes it sound even better then.
I Won't Back Down, Tom Petty. Is that 80s Tom Petty, Won't Back Down?
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Right around the Philberry's time, right?
Fever.
Yeah, 89.
I just listened to that Dire Straits album. It wasn't bad. It's a freaking great album. Jack's a tough critic, man.
Yeah.
Live version of Romeo and Julie even surpassed the. Yeah, it's on Alchemy Live, right? French. I Won't Back Down, Tom Petty. Will Brian throw in one surprise tonight?
You got it.
Gary.
I hope so.
What's he trying to say? You're very predictable.
Actually,
trying to slam you there.
Now I probably shouldn't have taken out a couple of songs. I should have left them in, but I thought they were just too obscure. So that was probably a mistake.
The radio messed up Tom Petty. They played his hits too much, but they are great songs.
Yeah.
Man, this Jack guy's just
tough
he's
critic.
Not winning any friends on this show tonight. I had never heard Johnny Cash's version of Southern accents.
Oh, it's there in the Rubin sessions.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
Glenn, it's heartbreaking.
I should give Jack some advice. There's two people you don't criticize on this live stream. Bob Dylan is one of them. Trust me, I'm surprised I'm still on this live stream every week. The other one you don't criticize is Tom Petty.
But we have respect for you, even if you don't know what you're doing.
I keep saying, I'm the Don Felder of this little arena.
Rack my brain, Ringo. Cardboard head guy, he makes me laugh. My hometown, Springsteen. Yes, from the 80s.
My hometown. Yeah.
Never heard Bob.
Well, did you really listen to the Wilburys album?
Yeah. If you listen to that Wilburys album, you heard Bob Tweeter and the Monkey Man. Okay, we're caught up. Number 7.
Number 7. All right. So, sorry, Gary, I'm sorry I'm disappointing you, but I chose The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen for number 7. Just because I have it. Here's the 12-inch single. But yeah, but I forget the date because I didn't refresh my memory, but 84, I think. Apparently, Ian McCulloch woke up with some of the lyrics going through his brain somehow. So he has this weird idea that the song came from God. But the one thing I didn't know until recently was that apparently the chords used in this song, The Killing Moon, are from Bowie's Space Oddity, but played in reverse somehow. So anyway, that's number 7 for me. And Ian McCulloch calls this record the best album ever made, which I'm going to disagree with, but it's a pretty bold statement.
Wow, that is. Can you tell me something? That's a band that's kind of on my list to explore because I couldn't name an Echo and the Bunnyman song.
Yeah.
What's the best album?
This one, Ocean Rain.
Yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
I would start with that one.
Definitely.
They're still active. They put an album maybe 3-4 years ago. Yeah. Ocean Rain. Definitely start with Ocean Rain.
Definitely. I'm gonna.
I know Jeff Witcher's a big fan of Echo and the Bunnymen.
Okay. Or there's a good compilation too, which is good. But.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna check out those guys. Rob, number 7.
I'm really glad to have included this album because I know Brian has undying admiration for this record, and I'm glad that I picked this song because Glenn will love it because it's written by Jim Steinman, who is responsible for Glenn's favorite album, Bat Out of Hell.
Yeah, Bat Out of the Hell, man.
It's off of the Footloose album, which is chock full of great songs. And again, folks, I'm not joking this week. I'm being absolutely sincere. I'm picking Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. I love that song.
All right.
Woo. What are you judging me for, Sam?
I'm here for you, Rob.
No, it doesn't
you can't
sound
even
like
comment.
it.
I don't know the song, so I'm going to
Yes,
say
you
yes.
do. I'm holding up.
You would know it if you heard it.
Yeah. It's in a lot of movie soundtracks.
Yeah. Wow.
I have no more movie and I should point out, I do not own the Footloose soundtrack. I had to raid my wife's collection for it. So.
Oh, and here I was impressed that you had that album.
Believe it or not, I have that record.
I would like to have that record.
I believe that. Yeah.
Sam.
All right, this is the song that snuck in last minute that made its way to number 7.
Careless
And it's
Whispers.
That's already, we can't talk about Wham too much, you know. We can't give them an ego.
Sorry.
I couldn't believe this song made it this high up. This is probably my sleeper pick of the night. From 1987, from the album ESP by the Bee Gees. It's the song "You Win Again," which is an absolute perfect pop song. I have to credit my dad for getting me into this. It was around the time that they put out the other song "One," which came out on the album prior. That was a fairly big hit for them in the 80s. But "You Win Again," it's Barry Gibb at his hookiest, most pop oriented sound. It's not disco at all. It's got the 80s, you know, drum beat in the back, and this really cheesy video where like they all have ponytails and everything. They look very 80s. It's in black and white. But if you don't know the song "You Win Again," and if you like the Bee Gees, you need to hear it. I love the song. It's always in my head. I've always got it saved on my phone. So that's my number 7 pick.
Wow, Bee Gees in the 80s Bee Gees. You hear people love the 60s Bee Gees, the 70s Bee Gees, and I've never heard anybody say 80s Bee Gees. You gotta.
And this one makes it onto a lot of comps. I mean, it was a pretty moderate hit.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, that's the first song mentioned tonight that I don't actually know. I don't know that song. So.
Yeah,
you all should check it out. It is really a catchy song.
All right.
Okay, my number 7. I mean, I always admire Sam. He's got such great taste in music. Romeo and Juliet.
Awesome.
Dire Straits. You're right, Sam. Incredible song. I could listen to it over and over again myself, and sometimes I do that too. I keep playing it over. It's just great. That little guitar riff is absolutely perfect. The lyrics are great. Yeah, just an amazing song. My favorite Dire Straits song, and like you, one of my favorite songs. So
it would be my top. It would probably be my top 100 favorite songs of at least like in like the rock vein, no doubt.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
Okay, I got to get caught up here. What everybody's doing. Electric Avenue, Eddie Grant. That was a good song.
I remember that from many nights at the strip club as well.
Really? Was that after you were finished stripping or before?
Yeah, something like that.
Holding Out for a Hero. Great song.
Thanks, Jack. Somebody agrees with me.
I have the Footloose soundtrack on CD. Briar's all into it.
See?
But, John.
We don't care what John thinks. We've established this.
The Footloose. He's picked 3 songs on his top 10 that I don't even know what the hell they are. At least I know the Footloose.
He picked Electric Avenue. So how's that any better than what I picked?
Oh, he did pick Electric Avenue.
Right?
Rob, I'm sensing a theme that you're actually picking your wife's favorites.
No, I am being since. Yes, I brought
He's in the
one
background going, okay, next.
No, she's upstairs. She couldn't give a shit about this.
Number 6, Celine Dion.
No, these are legitimately my picks, and I'm sincere that I love all of these songs. I'm not BSing you guys like a couple of weeks ago.
Briar is he knows that Bee Gees song. So there's 2 of you.
It's a great song.
Hi, Dave Pickup. Like a Surgeon, Weird Al. I'm not a Weird Al guy.
I love Weird Al.
Jack the Music Guy, just subscribe to your channel since Sam is unsubscribed.
Yeah, please.
That's Jack is a really good guy, Christian. That's
fill that void.
If you're not subscribed to Jack the Music Guy, please do so. He's a really cool kid. We love him.
Gives us hope for the youth.
Royce is in the house, and Royce is having a contest, and I apologize. I want to enter it, and I haven't done it yet. Maybe you can let us know, Royce, in the comments when your contest ends. In the Dark, Billy Squire.
It's a very Gary pick.
Rod's in the house tonight.
Hey, Rod.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Rod.
Rod's a great guy. Oh, you too get some love here.
Oh, yeah. Good one, Gary.
Royce in the house. Money for Nothing is just the best. I still love that song. People say it's kind of dated.
It was on my short list. Yeah.
The movie on Roku was pretty funny. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I like it.
How serious do you think my list is? Not one Billy Joel song.
Well, you're only like a number 7.
I thought Billy Joel was the king of the 80s.
Hey, John,
The Stroke.
if John read the rules, he would know it's only one per artist, but we know he didn't read the rules.
Yeah.
I've seen Billy Squire do the stroke live. It was incredible.
Wow. Very cool. Okay, we're at number 6. Brian, kick off number 6.
Already at 6. Okay, so I've chosen a kind of new wave mixed with kind of a goth, and that's Killing Joke and Love Like Blood. I'm sure you must know. People know this song, right? No?
I don't even know the band.
All right, Killing Joke, sort of a, I mean, the early records are really heavy. Sort of, I guess you could say they opened the door to industrial rock, influenced people like Metallica, Nine Inch Nails, Soundgarden. And on this record is this track called Love Like Blood. Here's a single for it, 12-inch single, which is epic. I mean, it's just, well, you'd have to listen to it. So, like I say, number 6, yeah. Fifth. This is their 5th record, 1980. I have to check my date. I wrote it to 85.
Wow,
very cool. I'm writing down all these song names here because I'm going to check them out that I'm not familiar with. I want to check them out later.
All right.
Rob, you're number 6.
All right, my number 6, no explanation required, from Reckless, Summer of '69.
Oh, that's a great song.
Didn't you write that as kind of a joke? Is what I read somewhere?
yeah.
Brian Adams was probably only 6 years old.
That's
Yeah, that's the thing. He was,
And just so that everybody knows, it's not about the summer of 1969. It's
right.
about a different kind of 69, and there's actually a lyric that tells you that, and Brian has said it.
Oh, really? Was that he was actually making sexual?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's
I didn't know that.
That's exactly what the song is about.
Yeah.
So Played It
no
Till My
idea.
Fingers Bled isn't about a guitar?
Well, that might be, but
Played it through my fingers.
Yeah, he because I've seen Brian Adams twice, and he always tells that story. And
Oh, really?
yeah,
there's the one line at the end of the song where he says, it was me and my baby in a 69.
because he keeps going summer of '69, and then he kind of throws that in kind of while it's fading out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was born
know.
like in 1959, 1960.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, number 6. I'm gonna go. This is probably my most 80s so far. From 1986, it's the title track of this album. One of my favorite songs of all time, "Invisible Touch" by Genesis.
Oh, good song.
Good choice.
We talked about Phil Collins earlier. I love how this song starts. That do 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 do. I love how that's being played. Obviously Genesis at this point is a trio with Tony, Mike, and Phil. They're most successful. I mean, they were pumping out hits in the 80s into the early 90s as pop Genesis. But "Invisible Touch," it's just a feel-good song. It's one of those that the radio plays it a lot. Not as much as Summer of '69, but I won't go there. I love "Invisible Touch." I think it's just one of the most upbeat, fun songs ever, and I love how it goes into a key change at the end. Phil Collins singing is just top notch. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I am one of the probably few that like Phil Collins led Genesis more than Peter Gabriel.
Oh, I do 100%.
Although I love Peter Gabriel's solo.
But they're more pop, and I'm not really a prog guy. So
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, my number 6 is a band I got to see in 1986 live in Edmonton with Iggy Pop opening, but the Pretenders.
Ah,
One of my favorite bands. I love the Pretenders. And I picked from Learning to Crawl. There's a whole bunch of great songs in this album, but I picked Back on the Chain Gang, which is kind of a jangly, kind of a, it almost be like a George Harrison song or something. It has that same kind of feel. But they had so many great songs. Brass in Pocket, I think, was still in the 80s. Might have been 79, 80. I'm not sure. There's just a ton of them.
that's interesting. I had a Pretenders song on my list, and I took it off at the last minute. But yeah, excellent.
Let me get caught up here. Did I do this one? Oh, we did that. I never. You know what? I didn't consider the Graceland album. Shame on me. That Killing Joke isn't funny anymore. Mashup between Killing Joke and the Smiths.
That's good.
Rob, you saw Billy's. Oh, John is just.
John's
He's drinking tonight or something.
he just can't wait for
He was science. Tom Dolby.
Oh, John, you can't be
Are you
serious.
sure that's what blinded you? I get the feeling it was something else.
He's just gearing up for his 11 o'clock stream because his after party.
Oh yeah, Randy. I'm a big Los Lobos fan, and that's a great song. Glenn, you don't have to write down my list. I'll send it to you. Okay, thanks. Oh, he's like Don Rickles tonight. Just got here. What wacky shit this Brian picked?
Wow. Steve coming out of the gate.
Very cool show tonight, guys. Thanks, Royce.
Brian's making it much cooler.
That Brian Adams is a rascal. Apparently, I did not know. Down End. I love that song. I played in a band in the 80s, and we used to do that song.
Wow.
Then I even had a banjo part for it.
Wow. Cosmic Torpedoes.
All the worlds. Brian's next pick will be Def Leppard. Oh,
Hang on. No.
the Blasters.
What the hell's wrong with Def Leppard? We got a one-armed drummer.
The hardcore prog fans may crap on Visible Touch, but I love it. Yeah, I do too. Some awesome mug, Sam.
Thank you.
And your coffee cup.
And the cup's nice too. Yeah. My Beatles mug.
1083 Tailing in Your Sleep Romantics. Take on Me, Aha. And Don't Be Cruel, Cheap Trick. That was a good cover. Oh, Rich is stricken. I'm surprised Rich even was awake in the 80s. Interesting. Fast Car, Tracy Chapman, The Boys of Summer, Don Henley, Rain on the Scarecrow, John Rebels, and New Year's Day, U2. Look at that.
Fast Car was on my honorable mentions, Rich.
Great pick, Glenn, with Pretenders. Thank you. Hi, Rich. Nice list. Agree. Back on the Chain Gang.
That I don't know.
Hi, Royce. Neil Young. There's a band that I can't get into at all. I think Morrissey is the biggest wanker that ever lived. The Smiths. I can't do it. I don't know what
I actually approve of this. The Smiths, that's a great song. Follow Me is great. Wall of Death is great.
I just can't do it. REM, Richard Thompson, Minutemen. Thomas Dolby did have a good song from the same album as Blinded Me with Science, One of Our Submarines.
True. That's true.
I'm happily subscribed to all on the panel. That's awesome, Royce. Thank you.
Thank you, Royce.
Thank you.
All You Zombies, the Hooters.
I don't know that.
Is that the Hooters? I don't know.
I like Hooters, but we might be talking about something different.
Yeah. Sunset Girl, 84, Glenn Henley. Rebel Yell, yeah. Billy Idol. How could you not? Everything Wrong with Def Leppard After High and Dry. Cardboard Head Guy, Motley Crue.
Wow. The ballad of all power ballads.
All the World's a Stage. Little Thief by Fergal Shark.
Interesting choice.
Wow. That's an interesting choice.
They're tight.
Okay, we're in the top 5 now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Oh, the pressure's on.
These are all going to get good now.
All right, so I've chosen from Glenn. You might know this record, XTC, Black Sea. Yeah. But I didn't pick, Generals and Majors or Respectable Street. Can't even talk. Or I chose the last song, Travels in Nihilon, which to me is the best thing they ever did. Proto grunge, reminds me a bit of Killing Joke. That song, the bass line in that song alone, the bass line. If you don't know this, that's my pick for the best XTC song ever.
Yeah,
that was Nihilon. They left it to last on the record. They really wind it out at the end there, but that's fantastic.
What a great album. Oh,
yeah, for sure. So much good in that. But
wow, great pick. I love that.
All right. My number, what are we on here? 5? 5.
Yeah.
From 1989 is a band that everyone shits on the latter half of their career. But it was my Aerosmith because I'm a child of the 80s. So off of Pump, I'm not picking Janie's Got a Gun because I hate that song because of my own stupidity. Short story, I almost bought Brad Whitford's Telecaster that he recorded Janie's Got a Gun with.
That's right.
And then I didn't, and I kicked myself. So instead, another song here I absolutely love, the song that closes it out, What It Takes.
That's one I don't know.
It's the one that goes, "Tell me what it takes to let you go." It's a breakup song, but it's like a power ballad breakup song.
For sure. Yeah.
You'd know it if you heard it, Sam. It's not one of their huge hits, but it was a hit nonetheless. And I just love that '80s, early '90s Aerosmith, because that was when this came out. I was 11, so
Yeah. You were buying them new, so that makes sense.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I love the early Aerosmith, but I just in the VC, no one ever gives love to later Aerosmith. So I thought I'd show them some love today.
So Cardboard Head Guy said later on in the comments, we'll get to it, but he mentioned Love and Mercy by Brian Wilson. I didn't even think about that. But my number 5 from 1988, kind of in a similar vein as the Pretenders, because I'm going to go with some jangle rock here. Again, 1988, the album is Green by REM.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go with Orange Crush.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the top earworms of my life is Orange Crush. I sing it all the time. It's powerful, powerful song. Great guitar. Michael Stipe's singing is killer. The whole "collar me, don't collar me." It's just fantastic. About Agent Orange in Vietnam. It's got that great, kind of political side of REM, but it's also got that influence to their '60s heroes with the Byrds and into Tom Petty and the Beatles. So I love Orange Crush. It's REM at their jangliest. It's at maybe their meanest. But I love that song so much, and it cracked the top 5.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
let's keep the ball rolling on REM. They cracked the top 5 too. My favorite REM album is Document, and I'm going with It's the End of the World as We Know It. Just try and sing along with that thing. I can't do it.
I like the Great Big Sea version better,
Yeah, they do a great version of it.
and a lot faster.
Yes. Yeah. But I love that song. I love this whole album. It's great.
All right.
Wow. REM, get some love. Billy Idol, yes. I Despise the Grungier, but that's 90s, right?
Yep.
Love and Mercy, Brian Wilson. Is that a song from the 80s?
Yeah, it's from his debut solo album from
Okay.
87,
Something like that.
86. It was, yeah.
Great one, Rob.
Thank you.
Aerosmith.
Thank you.
Everybody likes Aerosmith but me.
Wow.
Just a friend, Biz Markie. I don't know that.
Yeah. It's one of the early rap songs.
I had a rap song on my list, but I took it off, by the way.
Yeah, I had No Sleep Till Brooklyn on my short list.
I had everybody. Yeah, I did too. I had Everybody Wants to Fight Mike Tyson by.
I wanted Ice Ice Baby, but that's from the '90s.
Who was that guy? Who was the actor? Will Smith. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
on the TV show. He had those
Fresh
stupid
Prince
songs
and
on
Jazzy
MTV.
Jeff.
I think I Can Beat Mike Tyson was one, and there was another one about wearing pants or something. Or Parents Just Don't Understand.
Parents Just Don't Understand. Great song.
Yeah.
My number 1, I'll just go ahead and say it out. It's Eddie Murphy. My girl wants to party all the time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, girl wants to party all the time. Party all the time.
Oh,
Who talked Eddie Murphy into making a record? Oh man,
it was a hit.
great pick, Rich.
Yeah.
Slow and Easy, White Snake.
Oh, I
don't
didn't
know
have
that.
any White Snake. What am I doing?
I didn't mind that either. I really liked that song. And Here I Am Again, Down the Road. What was that song? The ballad.
Here I Go Again. Was the
Here I Go Again.
Here I
That's
go
it.
again.
I like that song.
That's on my short list of songs, but
I just used Toys in the Attic for Chris Prophy's contest. We won't hold that against you.
I still got a new Christmas contest.
What It Takes is great. Honkin' on Bobo gets a lot of love from me.
I'm one of the few people that actually love that. I saw them on that tour. I think it's a great record. I have it on vinyl, which is nearly impossible to find.
REM. I don't know if yeah. Orange Crush is a good song. Yes. Wow.
Thank
Orange
you,
Crush. Never heard it. That is an awesome song title. Yeah, you got to listen. It's a great song.
It's a great
Get
song.
Get into REM. The Green Album, Document, whatever they are. Great records. Oh, I love that album. Avalon Roxy Music.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
record.
the only Roxy Music album I've ever owned. And I had the hard time keeping the Clash off my list. I didn't put them on. Tears for Fears. They're going to show up. There we go. Music in the House. Great pick. Good pick, Glenn. Love and Mercy was 88. Hey, Tim. Anything from Bryan Adams? Reckless, yes. Rob already did Summer of '69. Running the Risk, Foreigner. Foreigner was brought up earlier. I saw Bryan Adams a couple of years ago, Small Venue.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Awesome. Number 4
Already?
already.
Well, apologies to Glenn for this one because I'm going to show the Smiths. So, oddly, the track I'm going to mention was originally a B-side. So this is the single for William. It was really nothing. But the B-side is How Soon Is Now. And then it was later released as its own 12-inch single. But How Soon Is Now famously has only one chord. It's F sharp. The whole thing is F sharp over and over again. And it was put on a couple of records later. But How Soon Is Now was like an anthem of the people I hung out with back in when this came out. So it had to be on the list. I thought it might be higher, but it ended up at number 4.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to give the Smiths another chance.
Well, I mean, I think we have to separate Morrissey now from the Smiths then. I mean, he was like a god, essentially. Well, I don't know about that. But now he's turned into this really hyper-conservative weirdo kind of thing. So, or some people would say like a wanker. But so much different. So a lot different. But anyway, the Smiths for me were probably my favorite band. So
Cool.
All right, my number 4 is an album that I know Sam has on vinyl, CD, and cassette. Probably has it on his phone, and I know he plays it every day. From Bon Jovi's "Slippery When Wet," I gotta go with "Living on a Prayer."
Oh.
I love Bon Jovi. I love old Bon Jovi. I love new Bon Jovi, even though John's voice sucks now. "Living on a Prayer."
The only good thing about Bon Jovi was Richie Sambora.
What's that?
The only good thing about Bon Jovi was Richie Sambora.
I disagree. Phil Zanitas is a vastly superior guitar player.
I know, but he just doesn't have that voice. And
here's another little anecdotal story. It's unfortunate my father's not still alive because he knew Phil X. And if he was still here, I could have met Phil X.
Oh, wow.
My dad knew him, yeah.
Very cool.
Because he's from Toronto.
Mm.
oh, I didn't know that.
Very cool. Sam, number 4.
Number 4.
What's your
and I'm-
Bon Jovi choice?
Yeah, it's going to be Bon Jovi.
yeah,
Dead or alive?
It's Bad Medicine. No.
There you go.
I've been on a big kick of this band, and I've recently, again, started rewatching a lot of their live videos on YouTube, and I knew I had to put them on my list. Again, is it my favorite song by this band? Maybe not, but it epitomizes the sound, and it's just one of those epic songs that is meant to be heard live. From 1987, I'm sure this band is going to show up later on. From the Joshua Tree, U2, Where the Streets Have No Name. Yeah, just an epic song. I just recently rewatched the show that they did like 2 days after Bono's dad died, where they did All I Want Is You, and they went right into Where the Streets Have No Name. If you haven't seen it, it is must watch YouTube television. It is the most incredible, possibly the most incredible live performance out there. Because Bono is hurting, with his dad who had just passed away. But anyway, in terms of just the song from the 80s, it's got that great edge, kind of, very sparse beginning, that fade in with like the synth, the keys coming in, and then that down, and then he just wails on it. He goes very punk rock on it, and then Adam and Larry come in on the rhythm with the doom on the bass, and then of course Bono hits that first note. I want to run. It is pure.
The song like explodes at that.
It explodes. It's meant to be open. It's not meant to be, confound to one particular time. It doesn't sound 80s. It doesn't sound modern. It's just a great song, perfectly produced. Daniel Lanois he kills that song with production. It's just wonderful, and I had to put it on my list. So it's number 4.
Great song.
On a side note, Sam, did you see the NPR Tiny Desk concert that Edge and Bono did this week?
The one that I sent to you?
Wait, did you send it to me? Oh,
The one I texted you and said, hey, have you seen this Tiny Desk concert?
Here's the thing. I had like 4 people send it to me, so I couldn't remember.
Well, you should remember the important ones, Rob.
Fair enough.
Which I guess you probably did.
What did you think of it? What did you think of it?
I like it. Yeah.
I hated it.
I mean, that new album is
I want save this discussion for after because that it's on the top of my list to discuss this.
Okay, all right, all
when
right.
this is done.
Okay.
My number. What are we at? Number 4. Yeah.
Number 4. Yep.
I'm going with Hall & Oates.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I only have it on a hits thing, but Man Eater. One of my favorite Hall & Oates songs. Great song from the 80s. It's actually a reggae song. And just an incredible song. I just say it's a great pop song. So, and I love Daryl Hall. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great track.
That's my number 4. So let me get caught up here. I prefer the original cover to Slippery When Wet. I didn't know there was 2. I might have missed a few here. Mama by Genesis. I like that song too. Is that on the same album?
No, it's from the self-titled Genesis.
Oh,
album
that's
with
right,
the triangle and the square.
Yeah.
On the cover.
Straight to Hell is top 5 class song for me, Randall Nelson. Great to hear, Gary. Next Time I Fall, Peter Cetera. I never re-listened to anything after he left Chicago, so.
No, neither did I.
Games Without Frontiers, Peter Gabriel, yeah. The Smiths, William, It Was Nothing, and How Soon Is Now, both great songs.
Agreed.
Till Tuesday, Voices Carry. I do know that song. Good news, everyone. We're halfway there. Whoa. We're more than halfway there.
He's going Bon Jovi.
Felt Sunlight Bathed the Golden Glow, REM, Pilgrimage.
Wow, those are deep.
Living on a great pick. Royce loves Bon Jovi too. Gary. Oh, he liked the other cover. Can't wait to listen to that Slippery When Wet album. Great pick, Rob.
So great pick. Great pick for Bon Jovi. Not a good Wilbury.
Yeah, Traveling Wilbury
Don't
sucked,
listen
but
to
that band
Sam.
Bon
Don't
Jovi
listen to
rocks.
Sam.
It's all right that a guy with hair like Bon Jovi hates Bon Jovi. Good one, Steve. Tim Brown, great album. I only like 3 Bon Jovi songs, and they might be.
I'm sorry.
Keep us on the edge of our seat here. You sure you don't like 4? That's Entertainment, The Jam.
Ooh, on the nickel.
Tom Waits, yeah.
Oh, on the nickel.
Yeah.
I had a hard time keeping Tom Waits off my list, too.
That's a beautiful song.
Where the Streets Have No Name, excellent song. Thanks, Rich. Loved your Talking Heads pick.
Oh, there's a lot of kissing up
He's
here.
being so nice tonight. Such a loving environment.
I love you. No, I love you.
Yeah. Joshua Tree Singles. No, you're the best. No,
you're the best. Yeah.
Joshua Tree Singles. Great songs. Got overplayed on the radio and MTV, but still love Bullet in the Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that I haven't been a radio guy since the 60s.
It's very fortunate.
So I don't ever. You never hear a song gets overplayed to me because if it's overplayed, it's because I played it.
Howdy, Edward.
Oh, hi, Edward. How's it going, buddy? Top 5. I guess we'll be seeing the Bangles, right, Rob?
Stay tuned.
I don't know. Mind of Toy. I don't know that.
I don't.
Man Eater's about Philly.
Oh.
Well, they're from Philly. Good band, Glenn. 2 words for you, Rob. Cough drops.
No shit, Steve. I've been sick for 2 weeks and I've had everything under the sun to try and get rid of it.
Hence the Def Leppard and Bon Jovi picks.
Thanks, Dr. Steve.
Yeah. I think Rob's got 2 words for you, too, and the first one starts with F and the second one starts with an O.
Yeah. Never thought of trying cough drops.
Centerfield, yeah.
Do we have any
Fogerty had a
cough
great
drops?
album in the 80s. I love that. 86, Don't Dream. Yeah, Crowded House. My wife's a big Crowded House fan. We were
Great
playing
song.
a few of the songs the other night.
I know Rob likes Neil Finn.
I do.
The Fuzz Tones, 13 Women. I don't know that either. Here's Breyer's picks for his 3 songs. Living on a Prairie, You Give Up a Bad Name in My Life. I only like I'm a Cowboy on
They're all
the
great songs.
on a Dead or Alive. I like that song.
It's My Life, yeah.
Clear Channel killed terrestrial radio. Same songs over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear Channel killed radio and all, like, just killed radio.
I thought video killed the radio. I know.
Yeah, the radio star.
Well, Clear Channel shot JR, so.
Hi, Edward. Hey, Roy. REM would be my top rock band of the 80s. Yeah, man, they'd be up there for sure. You could make a good argument.
Yeah.
Top 3.
The big three.
The big 3.
All right. This was challenging because this when I made my list was number 1, and I put it down to number 3, but it could have been one. Could have been number 1. So this is from the Godfather of Goth, Peter Murphy. This is the album Deep, and the track here that I've chosen is "Cuts You Up." So he was formerly the lead singer of Bauhaus, and this is his solo record from late '89. My copy says 1990, but it came out in late '89. And I think at the time people were thinking, this guy's a bit Bowie-esque, but probably, in my opinion, better than what Bowie was doing in that time period. So '89, Peter Murphy, Cuts You Up.
Wow, excellent. That's another name I've heard for years, and I don't know anything about his music. I should check that out.
Yeah, I think he's great. Of course, I like Bauhaus, so that helps.
All right, what are we on here? 3. My number 3. I don't own it physically. I have it digitally. Again, one of those stereotypical '80s bands. I gotta go with "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey. I'm gonna kill Sam over there.
I need a cough drop. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't even.
All right.
I got to end the chat. Sick.
Yeah.
Like what you like.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a soft spot for that song, but
Thank you.
yeah.
My buddy just called me the other night, and we're the same age. We've known each other since we were like 13, 14 years old, best friends. And his neighbor come up to him the other day, knocked on the door and said, "I got tickets for a concert." And it was at Scotiabank or whatever they call it thing now, where the Leafs play. And it was Journey and Toto. He said, "I was surprised at how many songs I knew." And I go, "Yeah, but how many did you like?"
Were you surprised with how many members were on the stage? Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Number 3, I'm going to go 1987, Tango in the Night. I'm going to go with Little Lies by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, there we
It
go.
was on my short list.
Yeah, I know we did a video earlier when we first started these streams about our favorite Fleetwood Mac songs, and this made the upper echelon of the Fleetwood Mac tunes. I just love Christine McVie on it. I love the cheap 80s production on it. I love it. I love Lindsey Buckingham going, tell me lies. It's just great. Stevie Nicks with that, tell me lies. Just the whole thing is great. I love the sound of it. Again, many of these 80s songs are some of those earworms. I mean, like I said, Invisible Touch, Orange Crush, End of the Line. Those are all songs that are always in my head. And, Little Lies is no exception. I love it. I love that sound. Still the rumors line up. And Christine McVie, rest her soul. That was a beautiful song. I love it. It's just a great hook laden song.
That is a good one.
Don't get too excited.
No, it is. I was just looking. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay. No, I do like that Fleetwood. It's a great Fleetwood Mac song. I actually like that album.
Yeah.
I don't know if where do you think it ranks in their album list there, Rob? You're a big Fleetwood guy.
Oh, I mean, it's up there. I like it for all the same reasons Sam does. I mean, for me, it's probably in the top 5 or 6 for sure.
Yeah.
It does have a little bit of that 80s schmaltz to it, but I still love it.
I like it too. That's a good record.
Yeah.
My number 3 is my list. Oh, the Pogues.
Oh, yeah.
Fairy Tale of New York.
Wow.
One of the great songs of all time. It's the only song I'll play on Christmas every year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Wow.
And I love the Pogues. They're great. That's just an amazing song.
And sadly, Kirsty McCall died many years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number 3. I got to get caught up here. Sorry.
Our host is distracted tonight.
Clear Channel killed terrestrial radio. Okay, hi Edward. We're talking to hi to Procat. Yeah, we did that. Losing My Religion, great song.
That's from '91, I believe.
Two Less Lonely People in the World. Air Supply. I can't do Air Supply. He's
can't
joking
be
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just being an asshole now. Unless he's being serious, then I just insulted the hell out of him. Losing My Religion, my favorite song for the longest time, man. Yeah, it's a great song, but it's not the 80s, so
yeah, it's 91.
Jumping ahead. We're slamming Clear Channel. We don't care. End of the Party, the English Beat, or the Beat if you are from the UK. I don't know any of that stuff, but I'm interested. I'm not going to put this next comment up, but I'm going to say to Ping Derek that Norman Maslov is a dear friend, and I appreciate you're here participating, and you're welcome to stay and participate, but don't slam my friends. There we go. E-Robot, good choice. How about Peter Murphy and Dallas Carr?
Yeah, that's good. I approve.
Cut You Up is fantastic. I can't get into Journey. I don't know why. Me neither.
I know why, but
and what bothers me is Greg Raleigh, who was an integral part of Santana's original band with the first 3 albums, and he left to form Journey. And I was expecting this great band, and it just turned into like a ballady kind of band along the lines of all those other bands that were around at that time. I thought they would have been a much, much better. But Empty Garden, Elton John.
Oh,
great song.
Yeah. Good pick.
Great tribute to John. Journey saw them in July. I think that Journey's there's a lot of people. South Detroit is Windsor.
Maybe North Windsor's Detroit.
Journey for the win. See, a lot of people like Journey. Journey plus Toto, Nightmare. Yeah, I would have turned down those tickets. I just saw Journey 5 days ago or so. Hold Me is my favorite Christian
great song
of the 80s.
Great.
Yeah.
Tight harmonies.
Little Lies Over the Tongue one night title track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, John, don't be questioning. I mean, you just mentioned Air Supply, so
yeah, no kidding. Surprised to see no Queen yet. Yeah, I don't have any Queen. I'm not a huge Queen guy, so. Touche, Alembeck 65. I don't know that. Anybody?
I don't know that.
Nope.
Drive the Cars. There's a great ballad.
Yep.
Was Seven Wonders on that album? I like that.
On Tango?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Was Seven Wonders on Tango? I don't think so.
Wasn't that on Behind the Mask?
Yeah, I think you're right. Glenn got distracted because remembering Nightmares of Journey. Yeah. I got distracted because somebody was cutting up my friend, and I was trying to figure out how to deal with it. Rob's number 1 is going to be Try or Rose. Well,
it is not. Neither of those.
I'll tell you, Blue Rodeo was on my list. I made up about 10 lists, and they were on every one of them until I got to the end, and I took them off.
Yeah, I took them off. I mean, they're one of my top 2 favorite bands of all time, and that's their best album. But
and
no, they're not on
Rose-Colored Glass. I was going to pick Outskirts, the title song.
Yep. I would have picked Piranha Pool. But...
Number 3, X, The New World. That's another band I have not got into. Mazzy is totally cool. Yes, thanks, Royce. Not just Rolly. Neil Sean. Yeah, he was also in Santana. That's right. As a second guitarist. A good guitar player, that's for sure. Open Arms is the best. What's that from?
Journey.
Oh. Agree with Rich. Empty Garden. Yeah, great song. Real Men Listen to Air Supply. I have a pink t-shirt that says so.
Gary from Physical Format would agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do it. Okay, we're at the number 2 and number 1.
Yep.
Number 2.
Oh, man. Oh, tough. Okay, number 2, 1981, Robert Fripp, Adrian Belew, Tony Levin, and Bill Bruford.
Oh, now
frame by frame.
I could jump over there and give you the biggest kiss right in the lip.
Oh, please. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. 1981. Anyway, frame by frame from this record. Discipline is.
I love that.
Not only number 2 for 1980s. I would put that in my top 10 of all time songs. Probably make the top 10. So frame by frame, King Crimson. I just love that song. There's so much going on in that song. If you know it, you know there's so much going on with different time signatures and the two guitar parts in different time signatures.
That album
Just
is so
incredible.
great.
So that's number 2 for me.
Elephant Talk. The song discipline isn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh, what an album.
All right, my number 2 should come as no surprise to regular viewers of my channel. I have to pick my celebrity fantasy wife, Susanna Hoffs from the Bengals.
She just turned 76, Rob.
No, she's
Last
60.
Yeah.
And she is the finest 60 that has ever walked the face of the earth. I digress. From 1988, from their third album, the first song, In Your Room, it's Susanna Hoff singing about being in your room. And holy shit, I get weak in the knees.
I always had you pegged as the Roseanne Barr kind of guy.
Come on, Glenn. I would never steal your girlfriend.
I don't know that song, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Listen to
either.
it now.
It's it's hot in here. I might need a minute. Let me just stop.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you want to go get some
yeah.
tissue or something, go ahead. All right, Sam.
I couldn't go through the 80s without talking about this guy, even though I kind of
George
touched
Michael.
on him. What's that?
George Michael?
Yeah, Careless Whisper. You caught me.
I was thinking Wake Me Up Before You Go.
No, that yeah. We still have to get to a number 1 here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll shut up now.
1981, Hard Promises, The Waiting, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
It's my favorite, like full-on rocker from Tom Petty in the 80s. Like I said, my favorite Tom Petty song is Southern Accents that Glenn mentioned earlier. But The Waiting is it's that great jangle sound that I love so much about Tom Petty. It's a perfect opener to that album. One of my favorite openers of all time. That's in my top 3 favorite Tom Petty albums. The Hard Promises record. And, I love the whole, I'll be your bleeding heart. I'll be your crying fool. Don't let this go too far. Don't let it get to you. And then that crying guitar that Mike Campbell plays. It's just a fantastic song. I love that song more than life. It's just one of those that I never tire of. Absolutely love it.
Cool. Tom Petty.
I would have pegged Petty as your number 1, Sam. If I would have
It'd
had
be
to put
interesting to
money,
see who's number.
Yeah.
I think Van Morrison's going to be. No, he's going to have a Van Morrison song at number
it
1.
probably, yeah.
We shall see.
Okay, my number 2 is what was always my favorite band from the 80s, and that was Tears for Fears.
Oh,
And this amazing album, songs from the Big Chair, and Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Great song.
wow.
That's they were the band that I just loved at that time that were out in the 80s. So okay, Putting on the Ritz, Taco. Yeah, I can already wait to see what his number 1 is. Glenn's cheating on Larry. Yes, I hope Larry didn't see me offering to kiss Brian on the lips. Yeah. That'll not be good for our relationship for sure. These streams are something to look forward to every week. You must have a boring life, Cardboard Head Guy, but thank you guys for giving your time to bring such quality entertainment and great discussions. Isn't that?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You hear that music talk with John? Thank you, Cardboard Head Guy, and thank you for having such a great name. Who would ever know that a guy with a cardboard head would have such great taste? Eh? Can hardly wait the Replacements. Another band that I really had never gotten into that much. That I know Randy's a big fan of. That album that I can't think what it's called. It's kind of like their most famous album. It's got kind of a cartoon yellow cover. It's kind of Pleased to
Meet Me.
Yeah. That vinyl record is expensive now, man. I see it in used stores like $40.
It is.
Should I listen to more King Crimson?
Yes.
You were definitely told wrong. They're still they're not making new records, but they up until 2020, I guess, or 2021, they did their last tour, and they're still great.
I think they're incredible. I think in 1980s they reinvented themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
that record has polyrhythms, world music influences, got a bit of new wave,
Incredible.
gamelan influences, and I think the next two weren't quite as good. But even in the 90s, like in the 2000s, Construction of Light, Thrack.
I agree. It's like my third favorite band of all time. Love King Crimson. The leader of the band, same old Lang Syne, Dan Fogelberg. Yeah, he
There you
was. He read some great songs, man. Sadly, passed away from prostate cancer, I think. I bought a Bon Jovi GPS. Apparently, I'm halfway there. Oh, we are getting some bad jokes tonight. Maybe Bob F. and Music Talk with maybe John. They can go do a live stream after this and
I think it's time for me to go to bed at that
make
point.
us laugh. Everybody Wants to World is one of my favorite songs ever. Yes, me too. Roy, Orange Crush. Yeah, Sam put that on his list.
Yep, that was my number 5.
Quality entertainment.
I think you should block this guy.
Somebody's baby, Jackson Brown. Yeah, I love Jackson Brown. That's kind of a. What movie was that from?
Fast Times.
Yeah. I like Paul Bestberg's solo albums better than the ones he did with the Replacements.
That's interesting.
That could be. I've seen Crimson on the Thrax tour. That would have been cool.
So did I. It was great.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Where'd you see them, Brian?
Massey Hall.
Oh, nice.
On the same, that was a weird weekend because I saw the night before I'd seen PJ Harvey with Tricky, and then I saw King Crimson the next day with California Guitar
that
Trio.
must have been incredible.
It was pretty cool.
KC, last concert I saw before the lockdown. Yeah,
that's the new iteration though. That's the one. That's the new.
I love it.
Yeah.
I just think that the three-headed monster with the three drummers, they're incredible live. I saw them last time I saw them was 2019. Freaking, I would walk over cut glass if they'd come back and play.
Wow.
Amazing. The Damned, Life Goes On.
Right.
I'm performing a live prostate exam at 11. Yeah.
John.
That's
If he's doing it on himself.
great
That's
pick,
dumb.
man. Jack and I saved you a Timbit. Oh, that's my my wife. We went for the bar up the street has chicken wings special on Tuesday, so we all went for big fleet of chicken wings tonight, and then we had to leave Tim Hortons and grab a box of Timbits for later. So. Music Talk with John. Will the prostate exam be out on the street or in the railway track? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do you walk and do that at the same time? Oh, I don't want to get that picture out of my head. Okay, drum roll. Everyone's number one pick.
All right. Well, I should say I'm feeling a bit of regret for the songs I left off the list because I had a lot more. But anyway, number one, and again, this was so difficult. It's so hard to choose. And in the end, I went for a band that has a very low output. They only released 2 proper albums, but for me, were really seminal. And this is from 1980, and I've chosen Level Terrace Apart by Joy Division, which I'm sure everybody knows this, right? I mean, this is not an unusual track. I mean, I think people know this. So that's it. I mean, what can you say about this? It's just mournful in a way. It's about his failing marriage, and part of it's informed by his issues with epilepsy, and then of course he committed suicide sometime later. He and Curtis. But Joy Division, Unknown, Level Tears Apart. Sorry, that's number one for me in this difficult list.
Okay, I got to ask you. I love that, but it's another band that's on my list to check out. Because I don't know too much about Joy Division. What album? Is that one?
This was a non-album single. So this is this is a 12-inch single. So they released Unknown Pleasures, which was their first record in 1979. And then they released Closer in 1980. And then they released a few singles. So
there's really only 2 albums.
There's 2 albums plus there's a compilation which has singles and some
oh, wow.
And then there's there's 2 things that came out afterwards. There's Substance, which is like the New Order Substance, which has some singles and tracks that were hits, I guess. And then there's something called Still, which is a collection of things that never made it to record. So 2 proper albums, 2 compilations, and then 1,000 bootlegs.
I'm gonna check them out.
So Unknown Pleasures and Closer, the two to get for sure.
Wow, awesome. That's great. Rob, number one.
All right, my number one and my number two were the only two that never changed in any iteration of the list. And Sam's already mentioned this. Off Joshua Tree, Where the Streets Have No Name.
Oh, cool.
YouTube. I love it. This is a cool version, actually. This is a 10-inch. They did a box set of the 4 singles on 10-inch, and it was only available if you were part of the YouTube fan club. And what it has is the album track on one side, and then a live track from the Joshua Tree, live version of the same track from the Joshua Tree tour, anniversary tour from 2017. And the live versions that are on these 10-inch are fantastic. So for all the same reasons Sam talked about why this song is awesome, I agree with every one of them. So Where the Streets Have No Name.
Wow. Arguably, I don't know, man. If you had to pick the top albums of the 80s, you know,
Yeah, no doubt.
man, that's going to be in the conversation for sure.
Yeah.
Sam, number one. Why am I thinking Van Morrison, but you?
Well, this album was mentioned earlier, and Glenn was upset that he didn't think about it. It's from 1986, Graceland. I'm going to go with You Can Call Me Al.
Right on.
Yeah, it's my favorite Paul Simon album. Again, it's one of those albums in my top 10 of all time. I
Yeah.
love the Graceland album. I think it's a perfect 10 album, which I don't give many 10s, and Graceland is one of them. It's that back-to-back. You know, the end of side A is Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes. You flip it over, then it's You Can Call Me Al. What a great, middle part of that sandwich of the album Graceland. But to have Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes and You Can Call Me Al. And when I was able to see Paul Simon back in 2018 on his Homeward Bound tour, he did those songs in that order. And so he closed his set with You Can Call Me Al before his encore. And it was one of the greatest concert moments of my life to hear those songs. That horn section is just out of this world. The whole sing along, chorus of it is just great. Just everything about that song I love. It's everything that I love about that album. That the guitars by what's his name, Ray Feary, the South African musician. Just a fantastic song. And then that bass, that doon,
Yeah.
it's just where they do the reverse. Fantastic. I love everything about this song. And it was the first song I wrote down for the list for my number one.
Wow. Great song. Great album. I agree. Another one that you could arguably pick as one of the top albums of the 80s for sure.
Yep.
Wow. That's awesome. My number one, I'm giving more love to one of my favorite bands. Brian's already had them on his list. With the Black Sea, which is my second favorite album of theirs. And my favorite is English Settlement. And I'm going with Senses Working Overtime.
Great choice.
Oh, man. What a great song that is. Just so, the lyrics are great and just awesome. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the documentary called This Is Pop, XTC. It's a great documentary. It's only like an hour long. It's really good. And Andy Partridge talks about how he wrote that song because they needed a hit song for the album. And they were saying there's no hit on this album. You can't release it. And he had to go and come up with this song. And he talks this whole thought process of how he came up with the chords and how it's just a brilliant part in the documentary. And XTC.
Now, Glenn, I'm assuming you have the double LP version because in Canada
Yes.
they released a single LP version as well.
Yeah, I got the double LP. Well, because this is the reissue. Yeah.
Because there were tracks missing on this single one originally. Yeah, that's a great record.
Okay, we got to get caught up here.
I will say I did have When Will I Ever Learn to Live in God, 1989 by Van Morrison in my honorable mentions from Avalon Sunset.
I figured Van might make a thing. Great Joy Division track. Okay. Believe it or not, my favorite song of the 80s, The Living Years.
Man, what a song.
That's a sad song.
That's a really sad song, but yeah.
I love Joy Division. Great song. 2 albums are fantastic. I got to check on them. I got to listen. Owner of a Lonely Heart. That's a great track. Love Will Tear Us Apart. A really classic.
Not as bad as Love Will Keep Us Together.
Yeah. I don't think I'm familiar with any of Brian's picks.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's
good thing I didn't bring my underground top 10.
That's what I love. I love that when I'm not familiar with the picks because then I got my pen out and I learned something. If I Should Fall from Grace with God, the Pogues, great album. I also love Glenn's Pogues pick, but I like the title track. Yeah, that whole album is fantastic. You were right. Awesome, Brian. You're getting an awesome from Royce. You two for the win, baby. I like somebody who's very decisive.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
I'll stop it. Great song. Changes is also good on that album, in my opinion. What album's he talking about?
I think Changes. You're talking. Oh, what is he talking about?
He's not talking Bowie. That's 70s, but.
It's Tears for Fears. Change. That's on the Hurting.
Oh, right. What do you think of U2 Streets Have No Name reimagined version that's just released? Hold that thought, because I'm bringing that up as soon as we get through this. Yes, man, I love that song. So cool. I forgot Van Morrison in the Garden. That was almost on my list, Randy. Talking Heads Remain in Light. Great album, great band. Absolutely agree. Hey, Rob, I have a lyric. Let me sleep on it stuck in my head.
That's from your favorite song, Glenn.
What's that?
Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Let me sleep on it.
Let me sleep on it. It's a refrain that the female keeps singing.
The.
Oh, I had the. I had the
one of
on
the
my
dumbest
list.
names of a band ever in the history of
Great
music.
band though. They were on my list, and at the last minute, I switched it around. Matt.
They were on that Steven Wilson compilation. I've never heard of the song, so I'm interested in hearing
Fantastic.
Band's No Guru album. Yeah, a really strong album from the 80s. Leonard Cohen, Dance Me to the End of Love. Yeah, Leonard had some great stuff in the 80s. Senses Working Overtime stuck in my head when I first heard it. Yeah, it's just a great song.
Yeah, Ray Fury.
Okay, that's the guy. So that Van Morrison tour in 86 in Detroit. Very cool. Is next stream going to be about the 90s? We got to talk about that because I'm kind of thinking it might be. No changes from 90-15. Oh, changes from 90. The Yes
song
album?
Changes. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
9125.
Tony Carey, A Fine Fine Day, and Planet P Project, Why Me are great songs from the 80s. I don't know those, Gary.
I don't know this.
Why can't we try Canada's own Dan Hill? Now we know. John's. Another great 80s song that most of us not know is called You Did Cut Me by China Crisis. Great song produced by Walter Becker. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I typed the album wrong. My bad. That's okay. Cool. Okay, so there's a couple of new releases that Sam and I know Rob and Sam were both interested in, and I know Sam did a review on one album. I haven't seen Rob's opinion on this yet, but I did see our friend Brian Massey did Massey's Main Entertainment did a review of U2's new record, Surrender. What's it called? Surrender.
Songs of Surrender.
Songs of Surrender. So, Rob, have you got it yet?
No, because what happens in Canada when you order everything from the States, it takes 3.5 flipping weeks to get here. So it's still in transit in like the middle of I don't know where. So I don't know when it's going to here. I ordered the Grand Poobah 4 LP Deluxe, and I have purposely, other than the NPR Tiny Desk concert, which Sam told me to watch, and 4 other people. I've stayed away from. I don't want to hear any of it till I put the record.
Okay, so maybe we'll save that discussion for next week.
I will say I do have it, and I've listened to it. I did it over a 4-day period because I have the 4 CD set of all 40 tracks because you can get it. There's a single CD with the best of the 40. They have a 2-disc, all the different variants. I might need to listen to it again because I think for what it is, I think it's kind of like when Bob Dylan did his folk albums in the 90s. It's kind of a reset. And the way that the Edge is talking and that Adam Clayton are talking, there is going to be in the very near future that rock album that we keep hearing about. Yep. And I think this was a way for them to hone it back. And it's essentially a Bono and the Edge record. I wouldn't even call it a U2 record. Larry's barely on it other than a few percussive instruments because at that point, they started 2 years ago recording this, and Larry was dealing with some of his nerve issues that are resulting in his current recovery. So Adam plays a little bit of bass, but there are a few tracks where Edge is playing bass, and it's just him and Bono. And what I like about the album is that Edge takes lead vocals on about 4 songs and about dual lead vocals on probably another 5. And I love the Edge's voice. And there were a few times where I had to really turn it up to to figure out if that was the Edge or Bono, because Bono sings so much of it in this falsetto voice. And he's changed the lyrics to some of the songs. I know he did one "Stuck in a Moment" you can't get out of. I think he wrote lyrics for Ukraine on that track. I think it was that track. So there are some rewrites. It's not an album. It's not an album to listen to all at once because it's 3.5 hours worth of music. I'll say that. It's very, very, very mellow all the way through.
Well, I don't have an opinion on it because I haven't heard one note of it. But watch Brian at Massey's Main Entertainment.
Yeah,
So
he has a few
did
words.
not like it one bit.
When I do get it, I'm going to do an unboxing and a review. So
yeah, I'll be interested in hearing because you're a big fan, so I'll be interested in hearing your opinion on it. So we can't go. But Sam, Van Morrison, I know we all love Van, and Randy's watching. It's his favorite artist. Van just put out an album. What's it called? It's a salute to skiffle music.
Moving on skiffle.
Moving on skiffle. I saw your review, and there's a pretty big thumbs up.
Yep.
And then I immediately went to Spotify to go, all right, Van's done something good here. And I was extremely disappointed. I thought this is like a waste of fucking time. Excuse my language. I didn't mean to swear.
No, I like it a lot.
Really? I just go, there's no point in this. And some of those songs, I don't need to hear Froggy Win a Courtin' by anybody. I don't know if that song's on there.
He doesn't do that song.
Yeah.
But Bob Dylan did that on World Gone Wrong.
Yeah. I just don't. I just thought, man, there's too many songs on here that I
like it a lot.
If I ever hear again.
And I'm happy because I turned at least one person onto it. George Allen watched the review, and he said he paused it and went to Spotify and picked and choose a couple songs, liked it a lot, and he messaged me today. We text every now and then, and he texted me today, and he said, Sam, I went through Spotify, listened to the whole album, absolutely loved it, and he bought the CD.
Maybe I need to give it another chance because I just when I first listened to it, I went, this is painful. Like I was really finding it painful to listen to.
No, the last song he does, the Green Green Rocky Road, the Dave Van Ronk song.
Yeah, I didn't even listen to that. I didn't get that.
That's the closer. Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, I love the whole album. I do, and I was so happy because, like I said in the review, that album that came out last year was just a pile of.
Well, no, I should give it another chance, but I was kind of just going like, this is kind of a waste of time. I don't think I would buy it. It would sit on the shelf. I don't think I'd play it too much, but interesting. I'm dying to hear what Randy thinks of it when he gets it. Wow.
I am too.
Where are we here? Yes, I typed sorry, I got that. Tom Sawyer, Rush. Rush never made anybody's list.
It was on my list. I had Rush on my list and I took them off.
List for me.
Was Moving Pictures an 80s album or 70s? 81? So that's my favorite Rush album. I could have picked something off of there. If it's the 90s, I will not be showing up. Well, you know what? I'm not a 90s guy at all, so please show up. You might learn something. I'm going to be doing some deep diving to find 10 songs from the 90s that I like. So it's going to be a challenge. But
it'll be easier than you think.
I'm up to it.
Actually, I think it'll be harder than you think.
I think it's going to be hard. Pretenders' debut is a classic. Yeah, I agree. Fantastic. Nobody mentioned Styx. No, there's a reason for that.
No, we did not. There were other artists that were mentioned that were equally as terrible, in my opinion.
Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain. Yeah, that's a big album from the 80s.
I remember that for many nights at the strip club too.
That was your name in the club, was Purple Rain.
At the start is Stephen Wilson project called Intrigue. It's a selection of 58 different artists from the 80s from the UK. Kind of more obscure type songs. And
am I the only one that thinks the cover of that looks like a calculus textbook?
It does kind of, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's really cool though. Like inside all the songs, like every song has a a picture of what album it's on, and then a whole list of what was going on with the band at the time and all that. And it's really a great set. Intrigue.
I have to
Stephen
look
Wilson.
that up. Because I'm just looking at the track
$5
listing now.
on
Yeah.
in Canada on Amazon. It's probably cheaper than that in the States.
Yeah, looks good.
Where was I off here? London Calling almost made my list.
Some Train in Vain.
Van had a great double album in the early 90s.
Hymns to the Silence.
Hymns to the Silence. You're right.
Yeah.
A great
It is
album.
a great album. Okay, Glenn, just for you, I'll show. Okay, thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Jack. Wouldn't be the same without you.
Flaming Pie.
Love that album.
97. Is that 97?
That was no, but yeah, Flaming Pie was 97.
Free as a Bird might have to be on my list.
Free as a Bird was 95.
I like Real Love better.
Why is Styx terrible?
Do you have
Anybody
another
wanna take
hour?
that?
Mr. Roboto.
If you like Styx, they're not terrible. That's
Yeah,
all
they're-
I'm gonna say. I'm just not a fan.
When I was Jack's age, I was listening to Styx. I will say that.
I didn't like the Skiffle album by Van either. Something about the production. Yeah, I'm not into it so far. No worries, Jack. I like Styx.
Some Blue Collar Man.
Thank you, Briar. Yeah. Hey guys, it's okay to disagree. Makes your YouTube videos more. I agree. That's the fun of it. As long as we respect each other and just joke around, it's good.
Oh,
Thank
God.
you. I like Mr. Roboto.
That's good. I know. Yeah, like I said, when I was about 16, I had like a Styx Greatest Hits, and I was listening to it a lot.
And the problem is it probably had Babe on it, right? That was like the low
Babe,
point.
I'm leaving. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I don't.
Come Sail Away. And
I can't do that stuff. I just don't like that whole there was a whole group of bands that all sounded the same.
But Styx was particularly weird because many of their songs started really slow, and then they sped up. Like they always had this slow intro and then boom. Like I don't understand why they did the same thing every time.
Probably because Tommy Shaw said, "I'm not going to stay with you if I don't have this build up here."
Yeah,
Probably.
Dennis DeYoung.
Randy is ready to order it. I did like the Skiffle session. I loved the Skiffle sessions. Now that was well done. That's a great freaking album. Royce, the show was fun, guys. Thanks. You're more than welcome. We
Thank
thank
you, Royce.
everybody who
Thanks, Royce.
watched and participated. Thank you. The last time new people made good music. I don't agree with that. I think the 2000s, I've discovered a lot of really cool music.
There's good music in every decade. It's just what
There
the
is.
radio
You just got to look for it.
Yeah.
You got to dig deep, man. I'm not a grunge guy, so I don't know what else I can think of from the 90s. So,
Got some Spice Girl records if you want.
yeah. Tell me what you want, what you really want.
Exactly. That
I
will
know if we get-
guarantee you be on my list.
Styx is like an unholy mix of Kansas and Barry Manilow.
that's good.
That is awesome.
There's the hot take of the night.
Jayhawks. Yeah.
Love the Jayhawks.
You could do some like Lowest of the Low, Glenn, couldn't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'm
Or
going to have to do some
Gin Blossoms or any of those.
Canadian stuff for sure. Yeah, there'll be a lot of weird stuff that no one's ever heard of coming
Yeah,
from me.
I mean, Harvest Moon was from the 90s.
Bale of
Canadian
Fleck and the
stuff, I should
Flaxtones
do
are going to be on there. And, yeah. There'll be a bunch
Yeah.
of crazy stuff.
When was Red on Blonde, Glenn? Was that late 90s or early 2000s by Tim O'Brien?
I'm not sure.
That might have been like 02.
I'm thinking late 90s, but yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Really obscure stuff for me. Definitely.
1996.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else going on with you guys? Anything coming up video wise or?
Brian, you start.
I have no plans. I mean, I'll make one this week, but I had to go to work today, which kind of messed everything up. Usually I go once a week. So yeah, I'm thinking about something, but I haven't really decided. So probably later this week I'll put something up. I have no idea what it's going to be though. We just had March break. That was the problem. March break messed everything up because the kids were here and it was just craziness. So
So you guys know I love David Bowie, and I was on Facebook Marketplace, and these big Bowie box sets that have been coming out. I've got the brilliant Adventures one, I think it's called. I got that one with all the stuff more, the 90s type stuff in it, which I love. And I don't have any of the earlier ones. And there's one that was out called Conversation Piece, 5 CD set. It's a lot of home demos and stuff, and it really revolves around the Space Oddity album. And it's about $120 to buy it new. And there was a guy in Facebook Marketplace in my hometown here, in my hometown, but town I live in, Trenton, Ontario, and he was selling it for $70. And I went, I don't know if I want to spend $70 for a bunch of home demos from Bowie. Then I was on there yesterday, and he had it down for $50.
Oh.
And I went, oh, it's getting close. What if I asked him if he'd sell it to me for $40? So I emailed, so would you do 40? And he said, yeah.
Wow.
So I picked it up tonight.
Nice.
So,
Oh yeah.
David Bowie Conversation Piece. It is heavy as hell. It must weigh 5 freaking pounds.
That's
It's a big
vinyl.
hardcover book
A CD.
with tons of cool pictures and stories and all this kind of stuff, and five CDs.
Cool.
2 there, 3 there, and I just dropped the thing. So it's like the first CD is home demos, and the second CD is demos he did with Mercury Records or something, and then there's the third CD, Conversation Pieces, which I think is a lot of studio banter and stuff, and then the fourth CD is the original mix of the album from '69, and the fifth CD is the new mix that Tony Visconti did in when this came out just recently. So I'm kind of looking forward to exploring this, but for $40, I didn't see how I could pass that up.
That's a
That's
deal.
pretty good.
That's a deal.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, I've got a couple things going on, I guess. I'm trying to finish my Beatles series, which kind of went on hold for a few days. A bunch of evening activities. So I'm finishing up ranking my Beatles songs. I've recorded in the last 2 days 2 new videos that will be out on one of them will be on Steve, who was here earlier, on his channel, where I got grilled by him and Gary.
Oh, you did that, eh?
We filmed it last night. It should be up tomorrow morning at some point, is what Steve said.
I got to see that.
It's a treat, I'll tell you that. So we did that tonight, last night.
Did
and
they
then
ask you any embarrassing questions, or just?
You will have to see.
Okay.
It goes buck wild. And then before this, normally we would be filming our Hall of Fame show on Rich's channel, which go subscribe to Rich Strickler, because Glenn and I are all over that on the new series where we induct our Hall of Fame. We had a very long hiatus for our classic album ranking series, where we take classic albums, we invite a different guest from YouTube on, and we had Randy on tonight, and we did Every Picture Tells a Story, which we've been talking about since November the 1st was the last time we did a video for this series. And so we filmed it with Randy, and I guess it'll be up tomorrow or the next day. So that'll be up. So I've got at least 3 things that will be up.
Wow, you're all over the place. That's awesome.
Yeah.
My nephew Jack's visiting us for a week, and I just turned him on to that Rod Stewart album, because he's kind of he's heard more of the later stuff, because his grandmother's into old, like the songbook,
yeah,
and all that stuff. So he hears that stuff, and he wasn't really familiar with like Gasoline Alley or Every Picture Tells a Story. And we played that album the other night. It's pretty cool, and I played some Faces stuff for him and that. So
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Rob, what you got?
I got I'm gonna be doing 2 videos this week. On the heels of you doing your Beatles album ranking, which everybody else did, and then your song ranking. I'm going to do a Beatles ranking too, a little different than what everyone else has done. So stay tuned for that. And I got to do Chris Prophy's contest. And then I just filmed on Thursday last week. Concert Buddy and I did a collaboration, which will be on my channel. And it will be, for those that aren't familiar, there's something called the Vinyl Community Podcast, which you go to vinylcommunitypodcast.com or anywhere that you get podcasts from, be it Apple, be it Spotify, wherever. There's a few episodes out weekly. So Concert Buddy and I have a episode that I hosted. It's my first hosting episode on the podcast. It'll be simultaneous on my channel and on the podcast next week. And then if I can ever get John from Music Talk with John to be serious for 5 minutes, he and I have to record our podcast episode as well. So a few things coming up.
That's awesome. I don't know what the heck I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to be doing an unboxing on that David Bowie thing tomorrow. That'll be my next thing. I had a couple of milestones today, though. I hit 1,800 subscribers.
Oh, you did it.
Wow.
I did it, and I uploaded my 600th video
Holy cow.
Wow.
today, earlier.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
And 500 of those are shorts.
yeah. No shorts. No shorts. Yeah, so that was
Very
pretty
cool.
All
Man.
right.
Yeah. And
Cool.
yeah, I don't know what else I'm doing. That's it. So I think we'll probably call it a night.
This is
Brian,
good, guys.
thank you for joining us, man.
Thanks
Nice
for
to meet you,
the
Brian.
Awesome. You were an all-star.
thanks for the invitation. It was fun.
Oh, that was great. Thanks everyone who was watching. And Sam and Rob, always thanks for always being there. You guys are amazing. And please subscribe to Sam St. John, Northern Revolutions, Embryonic Robot, Brian, and we'll see everybody soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Great.
Thanks,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
Have a good night.